All right, hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, September 12th. Happy Friday, everyone. 6:23 right now. We got market opening up in about 7 minutes. ATR right now is currently 5, so it's very, very low volatility at the moment. Looking at current price right now, our market structure is currently very bullish across the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour. 4 hours currently neutral right now. Looking over here at the overall trend. We're currently in a, for the most part, bullish buy. So right here on the 1 minute, 5 minute, price is above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling to the upside. Over here on the 15 minute, price is attempting to shift up above the pivots. The trend meter is still currently red, but the pivots are attempting to swing to the upside as well. Looking over here on the higher time frames, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, price here is above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling up. So with that being said, majority of the overall trend here is currently bullish. So with that being said, we're probably going to be looking for some buys today. With the market structure bullish, we're also going to be looking for some buys. And with the volatility here, we're going to see if price starts to pick up. So let's go up to the higher time frames, daily time frame over here to identify market structure and liquidity. So looking at this right here, I'm going to go ahead and mark up liquidity from above. So we got liquidity up there. I think we might be at the all-time high, guys. It's crazy how much it's pushed up yesterday. I wasn't able to get into my sweeps again this week. We just didn't really have any pullback. So like with, market pushing up so high, on my swing accounts, I'm basically buying the dip. So if price hasn't dipped, which, has been kind of the case this week and last week, I was not able to get into my swing. So I'm gonna keep sticking to my strategy with my swing trades. I'm not really going to change anything. They're swing trades for a reason. So I'm not really looking to hop into anything too close to where price is currently at. Let's just go over here and I'll show you guys real quick. So initially my entry was way down here at 45,000. Price never came down this far. And then I moved it up a little bit for CPI data yesterday and price just shot all the way up, right? So, I mean, the next thing I could have done was move my stop loss or not my stop loss, my entry order like somewhere higher, but there's no point because we're at the end of the week already. So, I mean, obviously my swing trades are not going to get filled today. I'll just have to give it another shot next week. This week has been kind of weird, honestly. It's been kind of, well, not just this week, but this whole month in general. NFP was pretty choppy last week. This week it was choppy and then really bullish on the news days, but I mean, still somewhat choppy. Like yesterday with the with the orb entry, I mean that thing was a mess, of course. With it coming down. So we'll see how the volatility is. If the volatility stays pretty high, then I'll just make some adjustments to the TP stop loss instead of using a 20-point stop loss because it's pretty tight. Um, might adjust that to maybe 25 or 30. But right now, there's no changes that need to be made. Because yesterday was an outlier, right? We typically don't have a crazy bullish market like this where prices shoots up forever and just keeps pushing up consistently. Um, we talked about this yesterday. Market is kind of getting priced in for next week. Next week is the interest rate news. So we got the FOMC next Wednesday. That's when the interest rate cuts are supposed to happen. We're looking at 25 basis points. So with that being the case, price here is getting jacked up before it comes right back down next week. A lot of manipulation, of course. No manipulation with regard to technicals, but just with the fundamental side and just how markets moving as a whole as we prepare for the interest rate cuts next week. So, all right, guys, I have liquidity here marked up. Closest level of liquidity above is at 46,096. This is going to be the all-time high, I believe. The closest level of liquidity below is at 46,066. If you guys are just joining in, I marked up the overall structure. So overall structure over here is currently bullish. Everything except the 1 minute and 4 hour. So the 5 minute, 15, 30, 1 hour, we have very bullish market structure. Looking over here at the overall trend, we also have bullish structure here as well, except for the 15 minute. Everything is bullish except for the 15 minute time frame. If you guys are looking to take the momentum breakout, I'll have that direction for you shortly in about 1 minute. It's currently 6:28 right now. So depending on how this candle here closes, if this candle closes with a sell signal, then the entry for the momentum breakout is going to be a sell. If this here does not close with the sell signal, this will be a buy for the momentum breakout. Ideally, I'd be looking for buys here because the overall direction is bullish, Looking over here at the overall bias for today, it's currently bullish with medium conviction. Fundamentals lean risk on with Fed cuts priced in, soft labor data, global equity strength, while technicals show consolidation just below the record highs. Alignment is decent, but capped at resistance at 46,160 to 46,200. Upside bias, but conviction is tempered by rejection of risk of rejection at the highs, which is the all-time high, of course. So alignment right here, it's aligned. Fundamentals favor a bullish continuation. Rate cut expectations, weaker USD, easing yields and technicals still show an intact uptrend on higher timeframes. However, conflict is near-term charts show range-bound chop and shows resistance just overhead. If that zone rejects, it could easily flip the bias. So guys, direction for the momentum breakout is going to be a buy if anybody is looking to take that. We got market opening up shortly in about 40 seconds. So again, if you guys want to take this momentum breakout, it is going to be for a buy today. We'll come back and take a look at this in a few. ATR is very, very low right now. It's currently at 6. So we'll see what happens here in a little bit. We also have news at 7 o'clock. It is Michigan consumer sentiment. So this is going to tie together the CPI and PPI news for the previous 2 days. So we got Michigan consumer sentiment over here at 7 o'clock, and that's pretty much it. So all right, guys, market is opening up in about 10 seconds. This liquidity over here got touched. We'll see what happens here when market opens up. Overall direction for market structure is still pretty bullish, except for the 1 minute here. 1 minute is now shifting to bearish, but we'll see if this here holds. So market is now open. Dang, this is a huge, huge spike, guys. So this is what I was telling you guys about. You want to be careful about the entry here because the volatility was so low, and now we're getting an extreme spike to the downside. So you can see here, everything was bullish pretty much up until market open, and then it started to have this huge, huge spike here. The thing is, price is so priced in from the week, like I mentioned before. So looking over here at this markup from my swing account, you guys can see this thing pushed up way too high. It was due for retracement at some point. So there's two things that may happen here. Price is either going to pull back a little bit to like maybe the midpoint of this big push to the upside, or it's going to continue climbing up. So you can see over here, price is kind of manipulating to the downside to this huge, huge wick right here. It's probably going to correct right back up, right, where it's supposed to go. So let's see how far this thing dumped right here on open. So market open right here at 630. This thing dumped down 48 points and it shot right back up about 50 points. So the momentum breakout is still technically running right now. It's running in profit actually as we speak. So right here, huge spike to the downside and huge correction right there. Look at that huge correction right there because our overall market structure and bias was bullish. It's correcting all the way back up. So if you guys are taking the momentum breakout, it is currently in profit right now. I would move your stop loss in profit if you guys are taking the momentum breakout. I think this is a very, very tricky market this morning. You can see right here, it tried to stop out the breakout, but it didn't. Got really close to it, but it shot all the way back up. And I wouldn't be surprised if it goes right to its target right there, full TP, 50 points. So momentum breakout right there is currently running. The orb here is starting to set up. So the orb high is going to be right here at 46.87. The orb low is going to be right here at 4,600. Wow, that's an exact price point. So it came down exactly to 46,000 and then shot right back up. So the breakout is currently running in profit right now. It's very, very choppy. Like I said, if you want to move your stop loss in profit, that's what I would do in this situation if I was in the breakout, because this here is a very choppy market, right? Extreme back and forths right here. This thing spiked down about 40 points, spiked right back up 50, 60 points. So it spiked down right here. Let's see, I'll just measure it. It spiked down 47 points. And then from there, it spiked all the way back up 87 points, right? That's a crazy spike. The ATR was very, very low. It was at 5 ATR, now it's at 14. So we'll keep following it here as price continues to move along. For the orb entry today, there's no orb yet, but the orb sell is going to be at 46,000. Orb buy is going to be at 46,087. So we'll see what happens here. Obviously, I'd be looking for some buys here if I have the opportunity. So we'll be watching here. Crazy, crazy market structure, crazy, crazy market bias here. Or not really market bias, but market structure just kind of being wiped out and recreated and etc. So this here is going to be the resistance, of course. I got a support level down here at this low point. So we got resistance, we got support. Looks like we got some. So there was a imbalance right here for a sell. Oh crap, I'm on the wrong chart. I was marking out market structure on the I guess I could leave this on here. This is the orb entry. But let me go over here real quick. I'm gonna mark up the market structure on this one because this is what's actually important, our main chart. All right, so the resistance is up there. Support is down here. We have an imbalance right here, which was retested. We have another imbalance right here, which is currently testing. This might be mitigated, but this is another imbalance right here. All right, so we got two imbalances. We got a resistance up here. We have an imbalance right here, and we have a support level down here. A lot of these liquidity levels pretty much got knocked out. Okay, this imbalance here got invalidated or mitigated, I guess. There's another imbalance here, a new one, a buy imbalance. I'll mark it up as price continues to move along, but I mean, it looks like there's sweeps on both ends, sweep from the top end, sweep from the lower end right here. Price is attempting to retest this upper imbalance. This is going to be a little tricky because this upper imbalance is going to line up with the orb buy over here. It's also going to line up with the resistance and the all-time high. So just stuff there to be careful for and pay attention to. Nice work, Arc. So Arc actually skipped out on the breakout for the day. Probably a good decision, or not a good decision, but I mean, it's still currently running right now. But yeah, I probably would have sit out on it because of like that big spike, of course. It's almost at its full TP, so the breakout's almost there, 50 points. This is the orb high, guys. So if you guys are looking to take the orb high, you're looking for price breaking close above the 46,087. It broke right here, but it didn't actually close. So there's no entry there yet for the orb high. Again, right here, a second retest. No entry for the orb high yet. It broke it, but no close. It's got to close above it. I think the breakout already hit full TP. Not yet, almost. I mean, this is a really tricky entry. Like I said earlier, guys, it's probably best to move your stop loss and profit. This thing's super, super choppy. I think this is probably the choppiest we've seen it this week. We've seen it range bound, so we've seen price kind of range back and forth, but this is like extreme choppiness, right? These candles are huge. Look at this current candle right now. It pushed up again about like 50 points, and then it came back down right here. Like just this one candle is about 40 points. Yeah, this is a risky market to be trading in right now. Again, right here, the orb buy never closed, guys, so there's no entry there for the orb yet. And this orb range is extremely wide. So let's see. This orb range is about 90 points. Very, very large orb right there. Price here is just chopping back and forth down the middle. I'll keep giving you guys my updated analysis, of course, as we continue to follow through. I mean, I'm still looking for possible buys here as price continues to um, move along. Sam says, LOL, love a big wake up and then sell off at to test all-time high. Yeah, so Sam here is looking for a sweep at 46,619 or 46,119. It's an interesting number. Did you just come up with a random number there, Sam? I mean, obviously it's not random, but you'll be at the all-time high. So Sam is looking to get a sweep right here at the above. I guess you're looking for the extreme, right? You're looking for price to spike out and then come right back down. I can see that. There's just no structure up there, so I was kind of curious where you got the number from. Very particular number. You're also looking for a sweep at 695, 46. Okay, this one makes sense. So he's looking for a sweep right here at 46,095, which is at my resistance. And he's also looking for a sweep up here, which is at 46,119. Okay, we'll follow that and we'll kind of see where price goes. I mean, there's not really much going on here. You guys can see from the orb. Gotcha. Okay, Sam. Sam got his numbers over there from order flow. Yeah. Oh, you know what? We're not at the all-time high. I don't know why I thought we were at the all-time high right now. Sorry, guys. For some reason, I thought we were at the all-time high already. Um, it's because I keep going on the wrong chart. Okay, sorry, guys. My bad. I was over here on the orb, so like I didn't see the liquidity marked up above. But now that I've gone over here to my main chart, okay, it makes sense now. My bad, Sam. There was a level there. So I have my own liquidity right there at 46,119. Okay, makes sense. So Sam is basically looking for a sweep either at the resistance right here or at the liquidity above. Yeah, my bad. I was like thrown off. I was like, there's no way we're at the all-time high right now. We're close to it, but we're not at it. Here, so this is what I'm going to do. Or I'll leave this up. I guess it's not a big deal. But anyways, the orb high is still right here, guys, same place. Orb high is at 46,087, and the orb sell over here is at 46,000 flat. So if you guys are looking to take the orb here, you're looking for price to break and close past 46,087, close above there, retest, and push up higher. Tricky thing about this right here is that we're currently at a resistance, right? So if price does break above here, you can possibly expect maybe a possible fake out and pull back into the range. So just something to keep in mind. Obviously, I don't want to discourage you guys from taking the entry here, but this is what may happen. We have about 50 seconds left on this candle, guys. Price is above the orb high right there. So this could be setting up for an orb right here, guys. If anybody's looking to take it, you're going to wait for price to break and close past the structure right there. It's currently sitting at the structure. You're looking for it to close past it. Orb high is going to be at 46,087. I don't think I'm going to take this right here. I might just wait for a high-low break and retest to follow. Yeah, I think this is, like I said, there's a lot of choppiness happening right here. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a tricky entry. This thing might not even close. It might pull back at the last second. We've seen this happen all week, right? Price pushes up, pulls back at the last second. It did exactly that, right? See how it's pulling back right there? There's no orb high there yet. Okay, no confirmation. This price action isn't good, guys. So if you guys want to take the orb, I mean, go ahead and take it. I'm going to mark it. It'll be marked up for you guys there, of course. But yeah, I'm gonna be a little cautious with that. So still no close above it. Exactly. Yeah, Rashida said don't risk it. I'm definitely not going to risk this because you guys can see how choppy it is. This is like pretty clear, right? The choppiness right here. It's very clear. I'll wait for that high-low break and retest a little later. But the market is just pretty much choppy between this middle area. So if you're looking for sweeps, I mean the sweeps over here are lining up, of course, right? So like if you take the sweep right here at the resistance, could have swept that right there. Right there as well. Another sweep. There's a lot of sweeps here. If you guys want to take sweeps because we are in a sideways market, I mean, the sweeps are coming through, right? So I'll just mark this up real quick. This is a sweep at the resistance. There's also a sweep at the support right here. Not really support, but at the liquidity. So there's two liquidity sweeps here which came up. There's one at the bottom, one at the top. All right. So we got sweeps here in both directions. Let me mark up this high. It's currently pending, but I'll mark it up anyways. Man, this thing's super, super choppy for Friday. Again, the big news event's coming up right here at 7 o'clock. I think market might stay choppy until 7 o'clock. Again, the orb here still hasn't came up. So if you guys are looking to take the orb is at 46,087. We're looking for that break and close past the structure, continuation above higher, but there is no orb here yet. One orb that a lot of people have been taking or that a lot of people take in general is the 15-minute orb. I'm kind of curious to check the 15-minute orb from yesterday. So this is Thursday. So the 15-minute orb actually would have happened right here, but there'd be no retest of it. Yeah, this thing just ended up flying from there. Yeah, a lot of people have been asking me about, the other orbs and stuff. There's so many different ways to apply the orb, guys. We apply it on the 2 minute. Some people apply it on the 5 minute. Some people apply it on the 15. Some people on 30. Some people on the hour. It just kind of depends on like who's applying it, right? There's so many different types of orbs. That's why like, sometimes some orbs are working and some orbs aren't because there's too many different variations to it. My variation is very specific as well. I don't take the break and close. I look for the break, close, and retest. Right. So my orb is a lot more, there's more steps to it than a regular orb. Yeah, exactly. Rashida said the 5 minute as well. The 5 minute is probably the most popular one, I think. The 5 minute and 15 minute. I think those two are the most popular. I'm probably one of the few people who applies it on the 2 minute. Me, probably visual, probably a couple other people here, but for the most part, I'm one of the few people who applies it on the 2 minute. Um, and the reason why I do it on the 2 minute is because I pulled the data on it. The 2 minute has a higher win rate and higher probability long term out of a 1,000 trade sample. But again, that's because I use my confluences and I have my own filters. Someone probably used less filters, they probably wouldn't have as high as a win rate. All right, we're getting a big drop to the downside right here, guys. The orb buy over here never came up. We might have an orb sell over here. I wonder what's causing this big dump. This thing dumped to almost 100 points, it looks like. See from this high points here, it has dumped down, yeah, about 100 points. So we got an orb sell right here, possibly setting up, guys. If anybody's looking to take this, I'm probably not going to get into the orb sell. Like I said, my market structure here was very bullish. Nice. Yeah, Rashida said the sell would also be at levels. Yeah, it's at a whole number, right? 46,000. So it's a nice confluence right there. The only thing that I'd be worried about is that it's dropped so far, right? I'd say it's due for retracement if it does close below that point. But that is a good confluence there to have. You got price breaking closing below a psychological whole number. And odds of it continuing lower are very likely. So it's a good confluence. Right here, you can see it did not actually close below it. Huge fake out, basically a sweep again. So another sweep off that same level looks like maybe. Okay, so no close right there, guys. Again, if you're looking to take the orb sell, you're looking for price to break and close below that 46,000. We have not had an orb here. This is pretty crazy to see the orb kind of play out like this for the past, I say, 3 weeks now, right? The past 3 weeks, this is kind of how the orb has been. It's been going back and forth very heavily, um, pretty much every day. It's very unusual because we're doing the 2 minute orb, so you're expecting price to break past structure with after the 2 minutes. Thing is, we've created this range here in the first 2 minutes, and price has not broken past it, or it's broken past it, but it hasn't closed past it. Don't you guys find that a little unusual? We have market open here. We have a huge, huge spike on open, first two candles, and then price has a lot of trouble getting past those two levels. This is a prime example of showing, what a choppy market is. If you guys are new to trading or if you guys are not familiar with market structure, this is a basic textbook chop right now. Like a lot of people have trouble identifying market chop or identifying range. This orb here is a clear example of it, right? Because typically when market opens up, yeah, you might get a morning chop and then it breaks above and continues up higher, right? Or you might get that morning chop, price breaks below and continues dropping. This has been happening for the past 2, 3 weeks now. Price creates this huge range and it just sits within this range for the entire session. This is the worst type of market to trade in, right? I've been getting screwed this whole week because of the chop. Um, because the thing is, when market chops like this, it usually doesn't last very long. Like maybe it'll chop like, a couple of days out of the week, but not like for 3 weeks straight. Like for 3 weeks straight, we've been having the same type of market chop, and it's tough because all of my strategies are directional for the most part, unless you guys are taking the sweeps, right? So there's another sweep right here, basically getting off that lower low. So there goes another sweep right there. If anybody decided to take the sweep there, I'd probably base it off the ATR. So I do like a 20-20, 1-to-1. So if you guys are familiar with my playbook, I always put my playbook up here. There's three strategies I typically look for. I don't really like trading sideways, so I don't really trade the sweeps as much. I trade the sweeps sometimes. Like if the market's going sideways for an extended period, I'll trade the sweeps. But I'm mainly looking at directional entries, right? High-low break and retest, or I'm looking for breakouts. I try to trade with my bias. My bias for today is still bullish, right? My overall bias for today is bullish with medium conviction, 7 out of 10 alignment score. My overall trend here is still pretty bullish as well. I mean, it's starting to shift here on the lower time frames, but I think if it corrects back up, it'll be bullish. And then my market structure over here is also bullish. So for me personally, I'm looking for price to swing back up. I don't want to trade within this chop here. I want price to come up and continue climbing. Only problem here is that price doesn't look like it's going to break out of this area. Um, I'm a little bit in a rough patch right now because we haven't had a lot of this directional move. So I'm a little more cautious on like whether I'm looking to take this orb or not. I mean, at this point, I'm probably not going to take the orb because it's way too like we're too far into the market. The orb will typically try to, I'll try to take the orb right away. But this thing's been running for about, we'll say almost 30 minutes now with no break, with no confirmation outside the range. Yeah, Rashida said, yeah, this week has been horrible. I didn't trade last week, and this week I'm down 2,100 across all my accounts. About to log out and head to the mall. This is so messy. Yeah, I know. I agree with you too, Rashida. The thing is like it's not just you. So like the good thing is that you're identifying this and you're seeing it for yourself. I'm part of a lot of trading communities and forums uh with like other people who are trading like similar styles. So that's why I'm always up to date with what's going on in the market because I'm always asking people like, well, how is this working for you? Or are they asking me how is this working for me? I know a lot of people who apply the orbs on different time frames. Everyone's kind of struggling right now because there's not a lot of direction. That's why it's good that if you guys are here during this live session, I try to give as much analysis as possible to give you guys understanding as to like what's happening in the market because it doesn't really matter which strategy you're applying. If you're applying breakouts, the breakouts are going to be tough because you're not actually getting breakouts in any direction. If you're trading directional strategies like myself as well, we look for price to break and close past structure and continue up. We just haven't had this lately because market's been stuck in this middle chop. The only thing that I can say has been working consistently over the past couple weeks are the sweeps. But the problem with the sweeps here is that you don't know where the sweeps are going to be like very likely. Also because of the chop, right? Like we have a support level right here. If you took sweeps from the support level, you probably would have gone stopped out because this thing it's still dumped pretty far off from the support level. Like price will spike past it, it'll stop you out and it'll shoot right back up. So it's always very key that you guys can identify, when to trade and when not to trade. For me personally, this is a good time not to trade because I don't want to get caught up in a lot of this choppiness. I feel like a lot of people are getting shaked out of the market because of like what's going to happen next week, right? We have the interest rates coming out and and I do see, a lot of this price getting baked in as we start to see some drop next week. Let's see. Glenn said he got the sweep off the orb low for 40 points. That's one thing that I've noticed too, Glenn. I've noticed that the sweeps off the orb high and the orb low have been pretty on point, right? Because price tends to sit within the orb. So nice work on catching that right there, Glenn. He caught that for 40 points. Sam said he's just chilling, let it all calm down, and then make the real move. Yeah, I agree with you, Sam. I'm doing the same thing. So Sam here said he's waiting for the market to calm down, and then he's looking to get into it as price swings back up, or not swings back up, or once it actually starts to move directional, which is exactly what I'm doing here. Not really looking to jump into anything. I mean, I'm still looking for the orb here. I'll use the orb as a confluence, but I'm not really looking to jump into anything too crazy. Again, this orb is really wide. If you guys are not familiar with the orb is just short for opening range breakout. What I mean by orb is I'm just talking about the opening range. It's about a 100-point range. Let's see. PC said, my opinion is the market is becoming more efficient. New York Open has been around areas of high interest. As the market gets more efficient due to tech advances, it will range more often than not. Most likely due to bots trading and data becoming more mature. Growth will slow as price goes higher. Just how math works. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I could see that, but the thing is, we're still pushing for all-time highs, PC. So we're not really. I mean, we're ranging, but price is still pushing up higher, right? Like, let's go on the 4 hour here. We're not really. So we're like slightly ranging right now. Like you mentioned, I agree with you though. We are going to a lot more ranging periods, but we are still pushing for all-time highs. So like for example, here, we get these big pushes. These are all news driven, right? If you guys see these huge candles here, these are all news driven movements, right? This is obviously a news that happened at 7 o'clock on this day. This was obviously news that happened pre-market. See, if you look at all of the big candles, they happen at 7 o'clock because that's open or pre-market where we have like all these big news events, right? Lately, we've been having a lot of big news events. This over here was CPI data, of course, it was at 3 o'clock. So you'll see market open right here. This is the market open candle, of course. And price is starting to kind of chop up a bit. So like, yeah, if PC is right with his opinion, then, I might be shifting more to sideways strategies, which is perfectly fine. Although I do like breakouts, or I might be looking for sideways strategies, just like what PC mentioned. Or what I might look for is just dips in market, right? I think I could put something together, of course, because if you look at my swing strategies over here, I mean, basically I'm just catching the dips. I'm going to be looking for the same thing probably on like if I need to put something together, it's basically going to be a liquidity sweep, but I'll be looking for like key levels for those sweeps. Okay, so still nothing going on here, guys. If you guys are looking for something, there's still nothing going on. I think price is going to go sideways until 7 o'clock. Just keep that in mind. We have a high impact news event, Michigan consumer sentiment at 7 o'clock. I think that is going to cause um, markets to finally break out of this area. But like back to what I was saying earlier, I might look for possible sweeps at certain points, or not. Yeah, basically, if that's the case, I'm gonna be reverting back to my playbook, but then I might be putting more focus on the sweeps here, right? My focus for the past couple months, or for this whole year mainly, was at directional strategies, right? I was looking at directional strategies for high-low break and retest, and for breakouts. If the market continues to move this way, like what PC mentioned, it's completely fine. We just have to adapt to the market. Instead of my focus being on directional moves, my focus is going to be on liquidity sweeps, identifying, key areas to be looking for sweeps. So if that's the case, the breakout's just going to change a little bit. Still going to use limit orders, probably not going to use the orb. But one thing that I can see here that could be very valuable is, like for example, right here, see how price came below this point and we had all the liquidity kind of sitting down here? Well, you can't see it anymore because I deleted a lot of the liquidity. But see how I have my liquidity level down here? I would be looking for a possible sweep on open right there. See, this is a key liquidity level because it lines up with the Asia low. So I had some confluence right there, right? If I have liquidity sitting at like key market structure, I'll look for price to kind of dump down to that point. I'll just catch the sweeps. And for the most part, I probably would just take buy sweeps for something like this because for the most part, YM has been pretty bullish. Let's see, Sam said 46.95 is not two equal highs. Is now two equal highs. ICT loves to run for equal highs or lows. Yeah, I agree. So he's looking at 46.95, which is my resistance. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, so the orb high over here still hasn't been broken, guys. Again, we have news in about 3 minutes. I probably would hold off on that. But again, like I just mentioned, guys, if we have to adapt and we have to change our focus from directional strategies to sideways, that's completely fine. That's the beauty of the market in general. Um, you can't really stay too stagnant. I think that's like one thing that a lot of people fail to realize. The market's not always going to go in your favor, right? You can either stay stagnant and just wait for the market to come back in your favor, or you can shift. Right now, I don't think there's a need for a shift, but eventually there might be. Eventually there might be if, if this becomes the market norm. Because this thing has been pretty, this has been pretty much the market pretty much for the past 3 months. Um, the market does go through phases, so we'll see. We're going into the fall market, so with that being said, the market might pick back up into a directional move. I know towards the end of the year, we typically start to have more of a directional move, like closer to, we'll say, we'll say closer to like the holidays, right? Because we start to get that Santa rally, which happens like late November, early December, and price just continues climbing up. But we'll see. There's no telling, what's to happen next. All right, we got price over here. It's retesting the imbalance. We have news right here at 7 o'clock. So in about 40 seconds, we're gonna have some high impact news event coming up. Um, there's a break and close past this lower high, but no retest. So there would be no high low break and retest there. Clean this up a little bit. All right, we got the high impact news event right here in about 30 seconds. Yeah, Glenn said I've noticed recently that if the orb loses entry loses, the market is bound to range, and maybe that's our cue to take sweeps. Yeah, no, and I agree with you too, Glenn. That's a good observation there. So thanks for that input. I've noticed that as well, right? If the orb either fails or doesn't even come up, like for example, this is a long time for an orb not to come up, right? We're following the 2 minute orb. Damn, look at this huge candle. That's crazy. Do you guys see that? Let me clean this up. That was a crazy spike. I've never seen Michigan consumer sentiment spike like this before. How big was that spike? Let me check real quick. Usually Michigan consumer sentiment, it spikes like a little bit, but this is a crazy spike. I saw it as it opened. It spiked back and forth within like a split second. That's crazy. Of all the years that I've traded, I've never seen Michigan consumer sentiment do this. Usually it'll push up a little bit, it'll spike, maybe one direction. But this thing, I saw it as soon as it opened, it spiked up and it spiked down. Like it was like the wick was already there on immediate open. And this might go into confirmation of like what PC is mentioning, right? The bots and the algos. They probably created all this volume right here. Because there's no way, a retail trader or a regular trader can create this much volume within a split second. Because this thing spiked immediately on open. That's crazy. Part of this push up. 15 points. Okay, so we got that big spike right there. And imagine this, like think about how many algos were like going back and forth right here, because a lot of algos like to trade the arbitrage between the little price movement. And one update, guys. So I got an email from Tradeify. They're like this is a reason. So I met someone recently who trades negative risk to reward, and he was asking me questions because that's how we used to trade before. A lot of these prop firms, they're not allowing for micro scalping anymore. So they're requiring that you hold on to your position for at least 10 seconds. So for a lot of you guys who are trying to go for those 10-point moves, I mean, Tradeify might not be the prop firm for you anymore. It wasn't a rule before, but now it's like a hard set rule. I got an email from them today this morning. They said they're requiring that you hold on to the position for at least 10 seconds. So just a heads up for those of you who are micro scalping or taking the small little spikes, um, it's going to be harder depending on like which prop firms you guys are using. I don't know if Apex, I know it used to be a rule with Apex, but I don't know if it still is because I don't do it anymore. But yeah, a lot of these prop firms are cracking down on those micro scalping moves. Rashida said levels just hit, but in the middle of the chop, so she didn't take it. Yeah, I would have done the same thing, Rashida. So Rashida over here identified the levels entry, which was right here down the middle, but she skipped it because it's been in this middle chop. So let's just zoom out a little bit. Guys, the chop here is still active, right? We still got this middle chop down the middle. Um, if you guys don't have to take anything, I probably would sit out of the market for the most part. I'm currently red for the week, so if I got to close this week out red, I'd rather close it out red than having, add any more losses It's what I got for this week so far. So we got another imbalance right here. I was really hoping to get at least one entry, maybe two entries today to recoup my losses for the week. My losses for the week aren't like super, super bad, but I mean, yeah, they're bad in comparison to what I'm used to because I have a pretty red week for the most part overall. It's okay though, because once I have two wins, it's gonna bounce back. So if I have two wins next week, it's just gonna recoup all of my losses for this week. Um, like I mentioned before, your risk management is gonna be really key. For me, I'm only risking half of my risk. So this week, if I have two losses, that's equal to one loss because I'm taking half risk per trade. My max loss is about like 2,000, 2,500 for one trade. And then each trade, I'm only risking about like 500 to 1,000. So in order for me to have a full loss, I would have to have two back-to-back losses. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you guys are kind of calculating what your lot size or your contract size should be, make sure that you're using proper contract sizing and proper risk management. So here's my rule of thumb. For a lot of you guys who are on, let's see, a lot of you guys are on a 50,000 account, right? So I do 2,500. This is your max drawdown. You divide that by four or five. I mean, kind of depends on what you want to do by four. So by four over here, this is how much you should be losing per day, right? And then if you divide that again by two, this is how you'd half the risk. This is how much you should be losing per trade. So this means that if you lose, you only have half of a loss. If you win, you have one full win because you're doing a 1 to 2 here. So just make sure that you guys are calculating your risk properly. You're not over leveraging, going too high on contract size because that'll eat at your account, right? If you're taking smaller risk, like your risk is small, but your profit is big. So here's an example. If I was to win a trade, I'd make 625. If I was to lose a trade, I only lose 300, right? Obviously, on my bigger accounts, it'll be more than that. So this is using a 50K account as an example. I'll use a 300K account now as an example. So 7,500 divided by 4. This is the max that you should lose per day, right? Per day. You divide that again by 2. This is the max you should lose per trade. I mean, you could round it up to 1,000, but this is the max you should lose per trade. So this shows you that, you could lose two trades to equal one loss. So, whenever I have loss, it's like around this much. When I have a win, it's this much. So if I have two wins, it's going to recoup four losses, basically. If that makes sense to you guys. You just gotta be smart about your risk. You gotta be smart about your trades. If you price it properly, the losses shouldn't really affect you, right? Like I have a couple losses this week and it's not really affecting me too much because it's added up to like one loss or one and a half loss or maybe two losses. So you just gotta have the calculations properly. Yeah, Sam said it's weird you did not get a sell signal even after that news red candle. I think the sell signal came up, but then it disappeared because of this huge wick right here. Sam, I wasn't watching it real time, but I'm assuming that's probably what happened. It was probably pending, and then because it was such a sharp retracement, it disappeared. Yeah, exactly. A lot said as long as your win is complete and not stopped before 40 points. Yeah, I agree. Because if you keep getting those, the partial profits, it's going to eat into your account. Unless you get the partial profits and then it goes opposite on you, right? Because then you'll have basically 20 to 40% of your profits instead of like a full, or not a full loss, I guess a half loss. Yeah, it's tough because in this choppy market, if you move your stop loss in profit, like the odds of you getting stopped out in profit are going to be more likely than you getting that full move. All right, we got price finally pushing up right here, guys. If this becomes a case, there may be possible opportunity here for an orb high. For those of you who are still looking to take the orb, this is pretty late for an orb. It's 7:07 right now. So if you guys are looking to take the orb right here, we got price breaking, closing past 46.87. It's got to close above it. So no close again right here. It looks like it just basically missed it by a point. So not even a break. It retested the orb high, but no actual break and no actual close. So no close again right here. It looks like it just basically missed it by a point. So not even a break. It retested the orb high, but no actual break and no actual close. All right, we got price finally pushing up right here, guys. If this becomes a case, there may be possible opportunity here for an orb high. For those of you who are still looking to take the orb, this is pretty late for an orb. It's 7:07 right now. So if you guys are looking to take the orb right here, we got price breaking, closing past 46.87. It's got to close above it. So no close again right here. It looks like it just basically missed it by a point. So not even a break. It retested the orb high, but no actual break and no actual close. So I think going into this weekend, I'm probably going to look into the sideways entries. I'm going to do a lot of testing to see if that's something we can implement, right? Because it's still part of my playbook. The sideways strategies aren't exactly going to be a brand new strategy. It's just going to be a focus, pretty much moved from directional entries to sideways entries. I think that'd be a good thing to look into because if the market stays choppy like this, especially next week, I think the market is still going to be pretty choppy next week. Even though we have the Fed, it's going to be probably choppy until Wednesday. So you guys can see here, like, Glenn just talked about this earlier. He's taking sweeps off the orb highs and the orb lows. They're good sweep areas. Like if you want to take a buy right there, the orb low, it's a 40-point sweep. Same with this right here, right? Sweep to the downside from that orb high. I mean, 40 is kind of far. Glenn will take it for 40. I think 40 is kind of tricky, but if you do want to hold on to it, I mean, odds are it'll probably play out or work. I probably would base it off the ATR, but I'd still want to use something with a 1 to 2. So, I mean, maybe 40 could be good with the trailing stop. All right, this imbalance has been mitigated. So let me take this imbalance off. There's actually a new imbalance here on the bottom end. Yeah, so there goes the imbalance right there. This is a buy imbalance. So we got two imbalances right here. We have the sell imbalance right here, which has been kind of been tested the entire session. This imbalance was created immediately on open. And then we have a new imbalance right here. This is actually retested. So this is a good imbalance too. These are two good imbalances. This thing's been tested about one, two, three, four, 5 times. And then we have one imbalance here, which was tested once. Price broke past structure, retested on this green candle right here, and it's pushed right back up. Nice. Sam over here took the V1. Solid work, Sam. Took that V1 right there. I'm assuming it's the one prior, right? The earlier one. So Sam took the V1 right here. Assuming you went for that foot, that 15, just got in and out very quickly. The imbalance right here is getting tested, guys. If this here closes below the green box, it's going to mitigate the imbalance. So just look at how this candle here closes. We got 10 seconds. If it closes below, it's going to invalidate it, mitigate this, and I'll delete it. If it doesn't close and it bounces off it, then it could establish as a stronger imbalance. All right, so no close below it yet. No close below it yet. So this here has not been invalidated. What you guys can see here is that the range is getting tighter, right? We had this really, really wide range right here, and now it's getting tighter. It's right down the middle. If you guys are just joining in, there's only one entry which came up today. The orb still hasn't came up. So if you guys are looking to take the orb still has not came up. It's over 40 minutes into market open, and the orb here has not played through yet. One entry that a lot of people are taking, or not a lot of people, I guess mainly Glenn and maybe some other people in the background, they're taking sweeps off the orb low and the orb high. This price pretty much comes up and rejects off those points. The only entry that really came up today would be the breakout. The breakout actually looks like it didn't play out unless you moved your stop loss and profit, like I mentioned. So when price was up here, I was mentioning to you guys move your stop loss and profit. And hopefully you guys did who were in this position because this here, um, this here would have came right back down like we were worried about. And then it spiked to the downside. So there hasn't really been too many entries. A lot of the entries we've been identifying are these sweeps here. So if you guys have been taking the sweeps, there's sweeps at these lower levels. We had lower liquidity here, which was marked up pre-market, higher liquidity over here, which was marked up as well. Typically, if the sweeps line up with market structure that I have marked up, so this is resistance and this is support, these are areas to identify the extremes and sweep areas. Um, Another way to identify the sweeps would be at the orb high and the orb sells right here. I mean, I'm still just waiting for price to break out of this range and push above the orb high or the orb sell, orb low. We haven't had that yet. Again, price here is kind of just sitting sideways. We have no confirmation of the orb high here. We have no confirmation of the orb sell. Just waiting. I think this is probably the choppiest day of the week. I was expecting today to hopefully be a little more directional, but this is probably the choppiest day of the week. What I'm kind of curious here now is I'm looking at let's turn on the levels real quick. Um, I mean the levels over here look like it could be an area of sweep two. I mean probably not down the middle, but the extremes, maybe the hundreds. So we got the 50 right here. Price was already at the 50, so I wouldn't have taken a sweep off that level, but the lower level right here at 46. Possible sweep. I'm trying to get a little creative with like where the sweeps can happen. Um, so I think what I might do, this is just kind of my thought process right now. If I'm going to be looking for some sweeps, I'm going to identify what my overall bias is pre-market. So for example, pre-market, my bias was bullish, right? Everything here was bullish. The overall trend here was super bullish. Everything just kind of pointing towards a buy. So I think if I'm going to be looking for some sweeps, I'll look for reversals in the opposite direction, and then look for the extremes and then catch the sweeps back up. So again, for example, right here, I mean this low has already kind of been broken. So there was a low right there, and there was a low right here. So not that I'm looking to take a sweep right now, but if I was looking to take a sweep, it'd probably be these two low levels right here. Like this would be the area that I'd look for it to sweep from. We don't really have structure below it. That'd be the closest level of structure. All right. So we got price dumping down pretty heavy. We got this area of liquidity. Let's see if price sweeps off this area. The orb low might be the target again for price to come down to. I think this is the latest I've seen the orb in a while. So it's for a lot of you orb traders out there, the 5 minute hasn't closed, the 15 minute hasn't closed, 30 minute hasn't closed, and for us here, the 2 minute hasn't closed either. So this is still a 2 minute orb sell for anybody who's looking to take the orb. I'm obviously not going to take that there, but just putting it out there that that is going to be the orb at the low. Still up at 46,000, 46,000 flat. Yeah, unfortunately, guys, I mean, it looks like I'm probably going to close this week out in the red. I mean, it's okay. You guys got to understand, you got to, weeks like this are what causes people to tilt and make horrible trades and, make horrible trading decisions. Sometimes you just got to be able to stomach the loss, right? Not everyone can do that. Like I'm sure this has happened to a lot of you guys where you guys have been in a hole for the week, and then on Friday you're just like, oh, I got to get out of this hole, and you try to take any random entry that you can see, and then you just dig yourself into a deeper hole until you blow your account. Right? I've seen a lot. I've seen it happen to so many people. It sucks. It sucks because like it could have been easily avoided if you would have used proper contract sizing, or if you would have avoided a lot more riskier entries. Like for example, right now, I could see a lot of people getting tempted to chase the sells here, right? Because price is down here. People are expecting price to break out and continue dropping lower. I could already see a lot of people are getting lured into these sells here. Vice versa, if price pushes up, I could see a lot of people getting lured into the buys here. That's kind of how I got screwed a lot of times this week, right? This week I got lured into the buys. Like for example, we had an orb that came up really late. It closed above here, and I was like, okay, this looks good, and it's going to push up, but it ended up faking out and pulling back into the range. Right? So I'm learning from my mistakes here. I'm not really taking those trades, especially if it's coming this late. This is a really, really late orb. 7:17 right now, guys. This is pretty late. So, like we've said before, sometimes it's better to just eat the loss and move on to the next week, um, than to take anything risky here. So don't get me wrong, I'm still looking for entries, but if nothing here comes up and it doesn't look good, I'm not going to force it. There is no need to force anything here. Let me check my market structure to see if anything's been updated. Okay, so it looks to me that we have a new resistance up here. So this imbalance over here actually turned into a resistance. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn this into a resistance point. Yeah, I mean, it's basically resistance now at this point. So there goes a resistance there. Price is still coming down a little bit. This imbalance obviously has been invalidated. So we mitigated that right there. There's another imbalance right here. Not retested, but an imbalance. We got a lot of imbalances here, actually. Wow, fuck, I just realized. Okay, never mind. Uh, let me double check, actually. I just realized my test for the Series 3 is next Monday, guys. I'm not sure if I'm going to have a live session, but let me check the time. I think I signed up for a late testing time just in case. I think it's at 1. So if it's at 1, it's fine. We'll have the live session still. All right, so this is actually a good imbalance right here. This imbalance retested this. There's three imbalances here. These haven't been tested, but this one over here actually got retested. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take this off because they're pretty irrelevant. This imbalance here was actually retested on this candle. So price broke below, it established the imbalance between this candle and this one right here. And it retested on this red candle. So broke below, retested, and this imbalance here was confirmed. So you have a pretty strong imbalance right here. The imbalance lines up with the support. So this is basically a break and retest of both the support and the imbalance. And it dropped down lower from there. Let me clean this up now. All right, we're currently right here at this low point. The orb cell is actually active right now, guys. So the orb cell is currently running. Like I said, this could be a fake out, pull back into the range. I'm not necessarily looking to take this here, but the orb is for a sell today. So I'll follow it here for those of you who are looking to take it. Thing is, my market structure, my trend isn't really confirmed for a sell, so I would say keep that in mind. All right, cool. So Sam's actually in the sell right now. All right, so Sam actually took the sell here for the MPS V2. So there was an MPS V2 which came up right here, guys. We had a sell signal, retracement, confirmation on this red candle. And Sam caught this for a quick 15 points, it looks like. See, the 40 points are kind of pushing it, but Samo here looks like he caught it for 15. Nice work, Sam. Yeah, so here goes that fake out that I was just warning you guys about. See, this is another dodge bullet here that we decided not to take. See how price is faking out all the way back into the range? This is why I avoid the orb when it happens this late. So we skipped the loss there because obviously we didn't take the orb. It's doing pretty much what I just told you guys about, right? A lot of fake outs right here. This is how I lost trades earlier this week. That's why for me, since I took those losses, I was able to kind of be smart about it, of course. Be smart about taking these fake outs. Nice. Okay, Glenn actually caught the sweep there. So Glenn's been killing it. He's been taking these sweeps here at the orb highs and the orb sells. Glenn caught this earlier one for 40 points, and then he caught this recent one for 20 points just now, basing off the ATR. Great work, Glenn. Yeah, Glenn caught that sweep right there, and he also caught that sweep right there. Let's see what the levels are. Yeah, this actually would have been a good sweep because it would have been right here at this lower low. Lower low in the direction of the overall bias. So you guys can see here the sweeps are pretty much on point. If you guys are taking the sweeps are hitting. The directional moves, though, it's a whole different story. I would probably hold off on these directional moves at least for now because we're still in this market chop. Huge, huge market chop right here, back and forth, back and forth. Let me see the market structure. We don't have a new market structure here. We do have the imbalance right here. Yeah, okay, so what I was gonna do is I was gonna check that date. Let me check real quick, guys, for my Series 3 exam. Um, FINRA, Series 3. Yeah, so I'm gonna be taking my let me just log into the FINRA website. So I give you guys a heads up whether I'm gonna be trading next week or not. Well, I'll be trading next week. I'll just gotta appointment dates on the 15th, that's Monday. Okay, perfect. It's at 1 o'clock. Yeah, so I'll be having a live session with you guys on next Monday, guys. I will be taking my Series 3 exam at 1 o'clock. So hopefully this goes all as planned, and then next week, if and when I do pass the exam, then I can reopen the hedge funds, you guys. Um, yeah, test date's at 1 o'clock. Okay, cool. Just want to get a confirmation on that. Thanks, Lila. Yeah, I got to get it out of the way. I've been like practicing a ton. Like I've been just basically memorizing the exam. I have like a 99% average here because I just been taking a lot of exams. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully it's just gonna be a one and done for me. I hate taking tests, so for me, for the most part, I basically just memorize the whole exam, memorize pretty much every question. There's like 1,000 questions, so I memorized pretty much all of them. So hopefully I'll just get in there. Everything looks familiar. Hopefully my photographic memory will help me just like be able to mix and match everything. And I'll get in and out of there. The only thing that I don't look forward to is the fees, right? So a lot of you guys here, you guys pay for your data fees for YM. You know, it's like $7 here on TradingView. I'm gonna have to pay like a couple of $1,000 for my data now. Well, once I register as a professional trader. It's gonna suck because all the fees are gonna add up, but I mean it's gonna in turn hopefully translate to more profit with trading. So we'll see. Yeah, if you guys don't have to register as a professional trader, I would highly recommend avoiding it. The thing that a lot of people want to be careful for is because I know a lot of you guys here have like your own programs and stuff like that. Thing is, like, it takes one person to complain about your program, and if they were complain to you to the CFTC or the NFA, you're going to be pretty screwed. because because a lot of a lot of people don't realize that even to be a trading educator, like a lot of people try to argue that you're not actually trading or you're not giving advice. But if you have some sort of Discord or you have and I just know this because I've been studying for the exam. If you have a Discord, if you're doing signals, if you're doing anything in the public eye, right? Like if you're on Instagram and stuff like that, it takes one person to report you, and that one, and the CFTC will go after you. And thing is, it's crazy because if the person that's complaining is going for at least 50,000, they can just do a summary action on you. They can give all your information to the CFTC and it's like, oh, this person's scamming or whatever, and then they'll because you have to be registered as a professional trader in that sense. Yeah, 50,000 and lower, they can just like report you, and then you'll have to like you can be like you don't even have to have a hearing. They'll just look up all your information, like, oh, this person's a professional trader. If they don't register as a professional trader, then they pay a huge fine. That's my situation right now, guys. Because I started the hedge fund prior, I started managing a little too much money. So they basically forced me to take the test and register as a professional trader. It's there's pros and cons to it. There's pros and cons because then you'll be registered as a professional trader and you can kind of put that up and you can kind of have proof that you're actually a professional trader. The downside to registering as a professional trader is you have to take the exam and then your trade history is public. So, for example, all the trades that I'm taking right now, this stuff's all going to be public probably by like next week. Um, so that's like the downside. It's a lot of pressure because you can't really screw up, right? You're blowing accounts left and right. You got to report that. So like someone can look up my information, be like, okay, this guy blew how many accounts? And it just takes away a lot of the it takes all the credibility away from someone. So there's pros and cons to registering as a professional trader. I think the biggest con is going to be the fees though. I don't look forward to getting all those fees, especially with TradingView. So TradingView, I think for a monthly subscription, it's like 500, or for a year, it's like 500. I think I have to upgrade to like the 5,000 package for TradingView. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. The fees just go up crazy. All right, so there's a high-low break and retest right here off this lower low, guys. So if you guys caught that right there, that was an entry for a high-low break and retest. I think this here would be a little bit of a tricky entry because of the market structure. So if you look at the market structure right now, it's still pretty bullish across the board, across from like basically the higher time frames. The 1 minute and the 5 minute over here are both bearish, but the 15, 30, 1 hour are bullish still. This here is a high-low break and retest. This candle broke past this lower low, retested on the following candle, and it is now pushing forward. Let's see, PC said that's crazy. Do you get better tax benefits? No, you get the same tax benefits that you normally would. Uh, I mean, the only difference is that, well, I mean, you can still write it off. So that's, in a sense, as long as you're profitable, it would make sense because then instead of having to pay so much in taxes at the end of the year, you'd be able to write off a lot of those as business expenses. But the tax benefits are the same. It's just you get like a name tag basically that says, oh, this is a professional trader with NFA. If you guys are not familiar with NFA, it's the National Futures Association. Yeah, if you guys are not familiar with like what the regulatory, because a lot of people know who the SEC is. SEC is for stocks. It's the Securities Exchange Commission. For futures, if you're trading something like YM, NQ, if you're trading Forex, it is regulated by these two right here. So CFTC is a Commodity Futures Trading Commission. If you think someone is scamming, you can like search them up right here, and you can see any lawsuits pending against a lot of, basically a lot of the YouTube traders out there. The NFA right here as well. So this is why like you'll see a lot of YouTube traders or like they're living in a different country, right? You'll see a lot of people who are based in the US, but now they live in Dubai or they live in Puerto Rico or they live in like random areas, like not in the US because they try to get past the whole professional trading thing. They'll say, oh, I'm not a resident in the US, so obviously I can't, you know. That's why you see a lot of people move to Dubai because like it's one of those countries where they can't extradite you. Like you'll see a lot of scammers move to Dubai and or they'll live there for an extended period so that they can have residency there. So when they get sued for doing some scammy stuff, they can't really chase them because they're in a different country. It's pretty interesting. If you guys haven't looked at the CFTC, you could like search up a lot of, or the thing is, I'm a member for in these, so I get emails every week, every month about a new person who is either giving signals, has a Discord, or something. They're getting charged with like all these crazy lawsuits. All right, guys. So right here, this is a high-low break and retest that's currently running. I'm not in this position right here. Like I said, the ATR is very low. It's currently 734 right now. ATR is currently at 16. If you guys want to take these positions here, I probably wouldn't go for the full 40. I probably would go for whatever is based off the ATR. So if the ATR is 16, I would go for 20 points. I mean, I know it sucks because it's a one-to-one, but I would do this to be on the safer side. If you guys want to go for 30, I think 30 could be doable as well. But I think the full 40 here is very tricky because the volatility is so low. I think this will eventually hit. It's just you have to hold on to it for a lot longer than you typically would. Like this trade here is running for about how many minutes now? It is running for about 10 minutes at this point. Yeah, PC said I'm in Seattle and capital gains is still tough even with no sales tax. That's why I moved to prop firms for that 1099. Yeah, no, same here, PC. I'm in California, so I get both. I get screwed both ways with state tax and with capital gains tax. That's why I moved to futures specifically because with the futures, it's a 60/40 tax. So on my personal trades, I'm still like paying less taxes than I would if I was trading a different asset. And then same with what you said with the prop firms, you get paid through a 1099. That's kind of how the hedge fund is working as well. The hedge fund, basically for the clients, they pay me as a contractor, and then I get 1099 out as well, versus getting the full, tax liability trading my own personal account. I'm still trading my personal account, but it's not like the funds are spread out, so I don't have to pay full taxes on it. All right, this break and retest is running down, guys. Sam, looks like you might be in this position. Exactly, yeah. So Chris said all the hedge fund profits are going to equal your fees. I know that's the downside to it. So like before I was running it with you guys, where I wasn't registered, so I didn't have to pay all these crazy fees. That's why you'll see like a lot of these hedge funds or these funds or just trader advisors in general, they charge a lot in fees because they have to cover their fees before they make a profit. That's why I was trying to do it and not register for a while, but then eventually, a Ninja Trader had to report me and basically be forced to take the test now and register. Sam said break and retest. He's out. All right, nice work, Sam. I'm catching that right there. Sam said it should be free fall from here. I'm snappy due to Friday. Yeah, definitely, Sam. So Sam's done for the day. He took a couple trades here, a couple sweeps, couple continuations. Like I was saying earlier, guys, I'm gonna look into possible sweeps. Like it's a breakout style entry, but for sweeps. So I'll be looking for that. Um, Probably over the weekend. I mean, I don't know if I'll have time this weekend, but I'll try to look into something that we can implement. So basically, it's going to be a not a breakout style workout, not workout, a breakout style strategy, but more so like a breakout style liquidity sweep. So basically, a sweep that happens within the first couple minutes. market open. Kind of similar to an orb. All right, so we got this right here, guys. The high-low break and retest is still currently running. I mean, it hasn't hit yet. If you guys are using the 30-point stop loss and profit rule, stop loss should get moved in profit already because it has hit 30 points. So if you guys are in this position, I do highly recommend you move your stop loss and profit to like at least 10 points to guarantee profits. In that situation, you basically guarantee 10 points and you're still shooting for the 40 here. It's on its way down, almost down. It's like a split point away from reaching the full profit target of 40 points, almost. It's almost there. Yeah, the ATR is really low, guys. Currently at 14 right now. Yeah, Sam said there's technically no resistance until previous all-time high. Yeah, exactly. Like no real resistance. This is like the short-term resistance that I marked up here, but the real resistance on the higher time frames aren't necessarily there. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cancel all of my swing positions because obviously they're not going to get filled today. So it still hasn't hit the 40 points, surprisingly, guys. I mean, this is crazy. Let me delete all my yeah, I'm deleting all of my pending orders from my swing accounts. I'll replace my orders next Sunday once market opens up. If you guys are in the Discord, I'll give you guys heads up on like what I'm going to be taking. Yeah, so these were my current limit orders for my swings. Obviously, this is going to change because market's going to reopen on Sunday. I'll try to figure out where's a good place to buy the dip. It's probably going to align with my day trades as well. So we'll see. I'll try to align the that sweep area around like wherever my swing trades are looking to sweep as well. Because I think that'll be pretty good if they could line up at the same level. All right, so full TP right here. If you guys caught this, this was the high-low break and retest. So the high-low break and retest hit. It did take a long time to hit, so this thing would have held for almost 15 minutes. It's a long period to be holding the high-low break and retest there. FF is asking trading FX prop firms now. FTMO is open to the US again. FF, I'm not sure if you saw it, but they're reopened to the US. So this is my FTMO account for the US. The FTMO accounts for the US clients, they don't have any rules. So you can swing trade. You can hold trades over the weekend. You can hold trades uh, overnight. You can hold trades through news. That's what's really cool about FTMO now for US clients. So I bought basically a 200,000 account and then I'm just swing trading on it. So I'm not taking day trades. I'm just swinging it. So I'm buying dips and I'm just riding it up for the most part. Let's see. Devin is asking, hey, I'm new here and my mental health is very, very bad for the past 2 weeks. The market's been really choppy, Devin. So like, I don't blame you, bro. I know we've had this. So you see over here how the market's been super choppy. I've actually had a pretty crappy week. I don't really have very bad weeks, but I think this is probably the worst week I've had in a really long time. Same situation, right? We've been in this choppy market. A lot of these directional entries don't necessarily hold. So this right here, traditionally, I would have taken this entry as a high-low break and retest, but because of this choppiness, I just didn't take it because I was worried that price would fake out right here and pull back into the range like it's been doing for the past 2, 3 weeks. So, yeah, Devin, I mean, you're not alone, bro. Uh, if your mental health is taking a toll on you, I would say to step away from the charts for a little bit. Because the thing is, I'm not expecting the market to move more directional for the next week or so, or at least not until Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we've got interest rate cuts. So we got FOMC next week. It's Fed week. So on Wednesday, they're going to be releasing the interest rate cuts. We're probably going to get some more sideways move until Tuesday or Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday will be sideways, and then Wednesday will be sideways until 11, once they release the interest rate cuts. So just, keep that in mind. Don't let the trading mess with your mental because I've seen a lot of people. It's crazy, what trading will do to you. It'll make you crazy. I've seen people in this group and especially in this group where they get so consumed by the trading and it starts to destroy relationships with like their family, their kids, their wife, their spouse, their girlfriend, their boyfriend, whatever it may be. Um, just don't let that consume you guys. The thing is the market's always going to be here. So if you need to take a break, take a break. I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. Everyone's always on this this mindset that you need to like make all this money so quickly. Thing is, you can lose that money even quicker. So in a situation like this where the market's not really going directional, it's best to kind of just sit out. Or if your mental is not there, just step away from the charts for a bit. Whether it be a couple days, couple weeks, couple months. When you come back, the market will still be there. You're not going to be missing out on too much. Yeah, PC said, yeah, crazy stuff. Plan for 10 years, not 1 year. Exactly. I've been trading for over 12 years now. I've been trading live with you guys for 8 years now. So you guys have seen how I progressed over the years. The longer and longer I've been trading, the less and less it affects me personally, especially because I cut off trading at 8 o'clock. I think if you guys have a hard cutoff time for trading every day and then shut off from trading, it helps a ton versus if you're trading all day. Like Devin, I'm pretty sure you probably trade all day, right? Or you trade for an extended period. For me, I trade between 6:30 and 8 o'clock. After that, I don't let trading bother me. Right? After this right here, I'm done and I go on with my day. You got to have a balance in life. You can't be thinking about trading 24/7 or else it'll literally drive you crazy. Especially if you have a loss. You take a loss today and you go on with your day. It's gonna destroy your mental. All right, guys, we have another possible high-low break and retest right here if anybody is looking to take it. We got price breaking and closing past this lower low. It's 746 right now. The ATR is very low. It's currently at 14 ATR. So if you guys are looking to take this trade, just keep in mind that this will be possibly a tricky entry because the volatility is pretty flat. What might happen here is you might have to hold on to this position for an extended period. Think about holding it for about 15 to 30 minutes compared to the usual, 1 to 5 minutes. So I just want to put that out there, guys, just in case you guys are looking to take this position, expect to hold on to it for a while because the ATR is pretty low. And like what we just talked about earlier, protect your mental. If you can't hold on to this for more than a couple minutes, then I would just sit out of it because this is going to drive you crazy if it goes sideways for a while. And this thing it didn't even actually close properly. So if you look over here, this candle closed slightly below it, but it opened above it. So I wouldn't consider this a clean high-low break and retest. It's got to be clean like this one over here, right? See how this one closed and it opened below the blue line? This one here closed below, but it opened above it. So not a good entry. And if you guys want to keep taking entries, I will continue following along with you guys here. Nice. So Jonathan actually caught this high-low break and retest right here. He said out with 40, very stressful, but I knew it was going down. Nice work, Jonathan. I'm catching that. PC set done for the week. I think price goes back into the range to fill the 4-hour imbalance after it sweeps 950. I'm done, but that's what I'd be looking for if it holds 950 significant levels here. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Um, yeah, PC is looking for price to sweep to 950, which is right here. That's exactly where it's kind of sweeping at right now. It is sweeping right there at the 950. I mean, we'll see if it sweeps. It might hold below it or it might just consolidate around this lower point. That is another thing. Possibly another sweep. Either a possibly, so there's three things that may happen here. Price is either going to consolidate down here for a bit. Second scenario is price may sweep from this area. I mean, at this point, I don't think it'd be considered a sweep, right? Because it's been sitting down here for a while. So I don't think this here would be a sweep. The other thing, so either consolidation, break and retest, or break and retest below. So there's a couple different scenarios there that can play out. We'll uh we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to be cutting out this week with loss, which is all good. The way I see it is, it could always be worse, right? It could always be worse. And the good thing here is that I'm able to control my risk and control my losses here. So I had a couple losses this week. Like I said, though, I've half my risk in half. So technically this week, I got three total losses, but because I have my risk, it's basically 1.5 loss. So I'm not horribly bleeding out this week. It's I mean, in a sense, you just call it a fair loss basically. Because all the trades I took, they met my trading plan. It was just we were caught in this choppy market, so I ended up getting caught in a lot of the fake outs. So we got price coming back down around this area. It's currently ranging between this lower high and this lower low. So you can see here, this is what I just mentioned earlier. We got price kind of just consolidating around down the middle here. A lot of back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, Sam said next week you'll be all green, bro. You just have to watch if the market is not ranging as people wait for FOMC. Yeah, 100%, Sam. So here's the thing, guys. This is what I mean about half risk. I know some of you guys don't understand what I mean by that. So my risk to reward here is 2 to 1, right? And I'm just going to use numbers as an example. So this is usually what my targets, or you can even see from right here. This is what my targets look like, right? So I'm just going to break it down for you guys. So on a 50K account, my risk is about, and I'm just going to round it, 500 for loss. Profit is 1,000 per win. Max loss for the day would be 1,000. So this is basically what I mean about it being a half loss. So like basically my max loss for the day is gonna be 1,000. Uh, Equals a 1R loss. So see how this makes sense right here? So for this week, I had 3 losses, right? So this week, 3 losses, which equal 1.5 R because it's only half R. 3 losses at 500 equals 1.5 R loss. So I like to like calculate things in an R multiple. So for a lot of you guys are not using proper risk. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but that's just how like a lot of people are. I mean, you have to be realistic. For me, I'm not making a lot of profit. I'm probably making 1,000 per win per account, but then I'm risking only 500 per loss. So for example, this week I took a loss on Monday, or no, not Monday. Took a loss on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, I think. Yesterday was what hurt, right? Because if you guys saw yesterday's loss, that one was, it literally spiked me out and then it went straight to target. So if you guys saw my loss from yesterday, this was like, man, I was so pissed. Well, not really pissed, but I was more disappointed because it was so close and this would have recouped my loss. So for example here, if I had, and we'll just use this as an example. So if I had two losses, Tuesday and Wednesday, and this is just a hypothetical, Tuesday and Wednesday, it would equal a 1 hour loss, right? And then if I won Thursday, that would equal, or no, yeah, this would equal a 1 hour win, and total would be break even for the week. So this is why like yesterday was kind of like it bummed me out that I took that loss because if I took that win yesterday, it would have pretty much put me at break even for the week. But because I took the loss on that day, I'm at 1.5 R, right? In order for me to blow my account, I would have to have let's see. So 3,000 divided by 500. Yeah, so I'm only at a 1.5 R loss for this week. In order for me to blow my account, I need a 6R loss. So see how this makes sense? This is why my risk parameters are where they're at because for me, I'm only down 1.5 R for the week. In order for me to really blow my accounts, I need to be at 6R multiples. So hopefully this kind of makes sense for you guys here. I know a lot of you guys don't really understand, risk management, but if you guys set up your risk this way, like you literally would have to have, like I'd have to have 12 losses for me to blow my account because I'm doing half R, right? So yeah, this times two, I would need to lose at basically 12 trades. I only lost 3 trades this week, so I'm okay. Not really in a hard point or like in a tough situation. It's just I gotta wait. I gotta keep shaking my trades until I balance out next week. So hopefully next week I have 2 wins and then it'll balance out. 2 wins are going to equal 2R. And I'll be back in profit and then some. So, all right, guys, it's getting close to 8 o'clock. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. If you guys have any trouble with your risk management, I mean, feel free to hop into the chat, guys. I'm breaking this down for you guys right here. So if you guys are having trouble calculating what your loss or your risk should be, I can help you guys kind of put that together. Um, the thing is that there's three main things that you need. Three main things to succeed trading with prop firms or in general, right? So one is like understand the rules of your system or prop. Two, make sure you have, or I say confirm, you have a real edge with, I would say about like 500 to 1,000 samples. And then three, use proper risk management, right? It's really simple, guys. If you guys can have these three main things, you guys can succeed. It might take you longer to really get to that breakthrough, but if you guys can have these three things locked in, this is really what's going to make or break you as a trader, right? Understand the rules of your system or the prop, right? If you're trading your own money, then make sure that your system is like fits whatever type of margin requirements you have. If you're trading with a prop, understand the prop's requirements, right? Understand the consistency rule, understand like whatever rules they have, micro scalping. If your strategy has like if your strategy has if it's a micro scalping strategy, make sure you're using a prop firm that allows it, right? Like I mentioned earlier today, Tradeify no longer allows micro scalping, so don't go for those 10-point moves because you're going to violate that rule. Apex I think is okay with it, so you can apply with specific prop firms. Um, step two is, confirm your real edge, right? I say 500 to 1,000 samples. This is back testing. Once you have a real edge, then you forward test it, right? You back test it to make sure it's actually profitable, and then you forward test it to know that it's profitable in real market. And then on top of that, now it's just, once you have these set up, now you just execute your trade with proper risk management. It's The thing with the strategy is that like a lot of strategies work. It's just people can't execute them consistently for a long period of time. Whether that's me talking to you directly or like someone else out there. That's been the problem with a lot of traders. It's really just the consistency. Yeah, PC said you shouldn't even be trading a prop or live account until you're profitable at least 3 months on demo. Yeah, and within those 3 months, you should have your sample size, right? You should have your sample size with the back testing, and then you'll have your sample size with the front forward testing. And PC said that leaves 9 months to make money that you ever have. Make more money than you ever have, and it'll compound over time. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm doing now. That's why for me, I have a system in place that I follow. I use proper risk, and now I'm basically compounding. I'm getting more prop accounts, and I already have my hedge fund. I'm going to be adding hedge fund clients to that as well. So basically, I'm getting money from prop, I'm getting money from my own personal account, and I'm getting more money from hedge clients from doing the same thing, applying the same strategy, applying the same criteria. Um, I'm just basically just multiplying the profits. So, all right, guys, let's see. Yeah, Sam said he disagrees. Demo trading has no emotions. At least people should buy a cheap prop account. I agree with Sam too. For me personally, when I first started trading, I did trade on a demo account to just understand the way that the platforms worked and how to enter trades and exit trades. But when you're actually trading live, I would say, like what Sam said, you probably should buy like a cheap prop account, like an Apex account, which is like 30 bucks, because you want to have your emotions tested. That's how you really get your trade psychology in place. But don't go and buy 20 accounts and don't go and buy or put in like a bunch of money into a personal account and then risk it. Just get a prop account and then trade micros. That's it. Because then you'll be risking like pennies. All right, guys, it is 8 o'clock. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Yeah, I don't really see anything here for us to really look at. Let me check the news for today. I don't think there's any other news events for today. So just a heads up for next week, guys. Next week is Fed week. So on Monday, we have a New York Empire State Manufacturing Index on Friday, or sorry, on Monday, pre-market at 5:30. Tuesday, we have retail sales, import, export prices. And then Wednesday is the big day. This is when we have housing data, plus we have the Fed data over here at 11 o'clock. So just a heads up. We're probably going to have a choppy market Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday is the big day. We're probably going to have choppy Wednesday, and then Wednesday, later in the day, we'll have the interest rate cut. So you can see over here, it's already forecasted. So it's 4.5%. They're forecasting a 25-point basis cut. So that's probably what's going to happen. We're going to have the cut there. Market's going to drop for a bit, and then it's probably going to recover. So we'll probably have price kind of dump down for a little bit, and it'll probably recover from there. So I'll be looking to catch my dips when that happens. I don't have any trades here active on my swing accounts, but I will be looking to catch possible buys from the dip there. All right, so I think this might be it, guys. So PC over here had a response to Sam. He basically said, I understand, Sam. For me, trading is about execution and risk management. Leave the emotions out of it. Build those muscles in demo. You don't want to build bad habits because they're hard to break. Yeah, and I agree with both PC and Sam. With Sam, eventually, once you're able to execute and just repeat the process, like what Sam means, if it becomes muscle memory, like for me, for example. If I'm taking the orb, I don't have to really think about it, right? I'm just waiting for price to break past structure, retest, and go back down. If you can execute that strategy over and over and over again, Then once you go into live or a prop account, then in that situation, you just got to keep doing what you were doing prior. But what I see with a lot of people is they trade demo and that doesn't transition, right? You trade really well in demo and then you go to a live account and then everything falls apart. And it happens with everybody, you know. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, unfortunately, I'm closing this week red. It happens, I had a red week, but thankfully my risk management is on point, so I'm only down 1.5 R for the week versus what I would typically be if I wasn't using proper risk management. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Otherwise, have a great weekend, guys. On Monday, I will be having my live session. I'll probably be cutting out a little early because I'm taking my Series 3 exam that day, and I do have to kind of just prepare for it. So, all right, guys, have a great weekend. If you guys have any questions, hit me up on Discord. I'll be around for a while, so if you guys do have questions, just reach out to me, and I'll answer your questions there.